Hi, I'm Richard McPherson. I'm the Chief Instructor at Let's Ride Motorcycle Training, and in this lesson I'm going to show you the Module 1 avoidance manoeuvre. Now on the hazard avoidance exercise, the examiner is going to just explain that you're going to go through the speed trap a minimum of 30 miles per hour. Well, remember it's in kilometres per hour, so minimum of 48 kilometres per hour, target is 50. And then he's going to talk about 2 blue cones. Now, we're not going to worry about the second blue cone, it's miles away, it's irrelevant, we're not going to go anywhere near it. All we're worrying about is the blue cone right next to the red cone, that's all we're focused on. And we've got to swerve it around that cone without knocking it over. Toes are a big no-no here, so get them tucked in to the frame of the bike, much like we did on the slalom. If it's stuck out like a flagpole, it's dead easy just to glance that blue cone and it's game over on the test. So get your toes tucked in, swerve it around the blue, and then he's going to just tell you that you need to stop between what will become 2 blue cones at the end. So on the controlled stop exercise, that was a box of 4 cones at the end. He'll have changed those now to just 2 blue cones. So on the avoidance exercise, you swerve around the blue cone, get the bike lined up to the 2 blue cones at the end, and you just got to stop between them. Doesn't matter which part of the bike is between them. It could be your front wheel, it could be you, it could be the back wheel, as long as something is lined up between those 2 blue cones at the end there. So we return to the motorcycle manoeuvring diagram from the DVSA, and yes, that does mean I'm going to be inflicting my stunning animation skills on you one more time. So let's bring the bike back into the bottom left-hand corner. There it is. And the circuit is exactly the same as the emergency stop. So we'll fire the bike off to the far right-hand corner. And as per my previous recommendation, have a little play up to 32 miles per hour in second gear. Drop it down to sort of 19, 20 for the corner. So a nice steady pace around the top corner. Remaining in second gear, and as we come off the corner, start rolling on the power, minimum of 30 miles per hour, target of 32, shut the power off, swerve left, swerve right, and then line it up for the 2 blue cones at the end, and all done. Now what I would say is this is obviously the left-hand circuit, which we have at Poole, which will then give you the left-right swerve. Now some test centres are the opposite, the literal mirror opposite of this. So it'll be a right-hand circuit with a right-left swerve. Now a good example of this is Lyon the Solent, which is a rather large multi-purpose test centre which has both circuits, so left, right and right, left. And on the day, the swerve could be either direction. You won't actually know until you turn up at the test centre. So if you are going to be using a multi-purpose test centre, definitely practice both the left, right swerve and the right, left. Now with the swerve, you make life really hard for yourself if you keep the power on during the swerve. You want to let off the power. You want to load the front end a little bit to make the bike a lot more agile. If the power is on, the weight is on towards the back of the bike, and it's quite difficult to muscle the bike through the swerve. So get the power off, load that front wheel, the bike becomes nice and agile, and it's really easy just to swerve it left and right. Now one of the cardinal sins for this exercise, and it has caused a lot of accidents over the years, not with us, but with other training schools, and I have witnessed them myself. The cardinal sin here is to brake during the swerve. Okay, so you throttled off, you start to swerve, you hit the brake hard, and then you've got that horrible shearing effect, haven't you? So you're loading the front, and then it's pushing out to the side as well. You probably get away with it in the dry, but in the wet, that's a recipe for disaster. I'm not even sure ABS can help you there. So do not brake during the swerve. You don't need to. You've got 30 meters to stop in. You've just stopped in half that distance on the previous exercise. So yes, get the power off. We do want a little bit of load on the front, but not too much load. So it's power off, swerve around the blue, and then line it up for what will become 2 blue cones at the end. And you just need to stop between the 2 blue cones. That's it. It doesn't matter what part of the bike or you is between the cones, as long as something is between the 2 blue cones there. Okay? Now, a common mistake I often see on this exercise is a bit of a panic situation, where quite often somebody will come down the testing area too fast. And this often happens if the first attempt was too slow. So the examiner comes up to you and says, okay, you've only done 46 kilometers per hour. Your target is 50 with a minimum of 48. And people tend to overcompensate and absolutely nail it coming down the testing area. So they're sort of traveling at sort of nearly 40 miles per hour through the trap. And they've only got 10 meters now to swerve around that blue cone. And at that speed, it's doable, but it's near on impossible, particularly for a new rider. And what often happens is they'll start the swerve and then suddenly realize, oh no, I'm going to hit the cone, panic, hit that front brake, and all hell breaks loose. So if you do this exercise on the test, and it looks like you're going to crash into one of those cones, what are you going to do? You're going to just crash into the cone. It's made of rubber. Okay, you failed the test. The test is £15.50p. It's not a lot of money, is it? It was certainly £15.50 at the time of making this video. It may have gone up. So it's a nice cheap test, this one. So if you just hit the cone, okay, you failed, big deal, but at least you're riding home, okay? If you do something stupid like swerve and brake, bad things can happen. So for the sake of 15 quid, don't worry about hitting that cone, all right? Chalk it up to experience. So come off the corner at 20, accelerate up to a minimum of 32, throttle off, swerve left, swerve right, line it up, brake, and stop between the two blue cones at the end here. Okay, come off the corner at 20, accelerate up to 30. Common mistake I see here is people lining up to the right hand side here, and the reason is pretty obvious. It just makes the swerve a little bit easier, but the problem now is we're far too close to the cones on the right hand side, and more often than not you'll demolish the cones on the right. Sometimes it's even the ones behind us. So just keep the bike in the center of the channel here. You don't need to move out to the right. The bike can easily swerve around that blue cone, so keep it in the center. Don't bring the bike out to the right hand side. Easy way of knocking over cones. Okay, and that concludes all the exercises on the Module 1 test.